Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crypto Hipster podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, executives, artists, musicians. I mean, you name it across the world in crypto and blockchain. And today I have a repeat guest, an amazing guest. His name is Nick Saponaro. He is the co founder and CEO of Divi Project. Nick, welcome.
Thanks. Thank you, Jamil. Glad to be back.
It's good to have you back. You know, the last time we talked, I did a little bit of a Facebook targeted ad in Argentina for our interview, and all the young ladies liked our interview. So, did really well. So, I appreciate it. So let's kick things off and ask you first. What's your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a software developer for many years. I was always into technology as a kid and taught myself a little bit of how to code. Eventually, actually got certified in it. Went to one of those boot camps that you hear about all around, just to refine the skill set. And really, that's how I got into Divi initially. I was just a developer, built out that skill set. But I also had several startups over the course of my young life, some better than others, Divi being the best one so far. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd say it's pretty logical tech with some business background.
And you're currently in Dubai. Why'd you move over there? I mean, I don't blame you. What sparked the move?
I was visiting Dubai pretty frequently. I'd been here a few times, just for work, mostly. And obviously, it's a fantastic city. It's very fun and it's incredible, you know, the way that it's been built so quickly, especially over the past, 50 years since the country was founded, the UAE. But when you actually get here and you realize how many opportunities there are to disrupt and improve and how open they are to allowing that to happen, and they'll work with you, and I say they as in, the actual government, the big companies here that have the biggest reach, they are all ripe for improvement and they want to become, the city of the future, Dubai. So it's a great opportunity that you just don't see in most of the Western world. A lot of the developed countries don't have that level of access. And so to me, that was a huge opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. So let me ask you, what's Divi all about? Where are you at now? What's makes you guys uniquely great? Let me know.
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, we started back in 2017 with the philosophy that if we can create a crypto ecosystem that is easy and accessible for everyone, that we can achieve mass adoption as an industry, right? And we've held that same sort of philosophy over the course of the entire project. First deploying our one-click master nodes, which are now patented, staking from a mobile device, our ease of use mobile wallet, and now our upcoming easy DeFi platform. We're taking things that people have probably heard before and we're making them as simplistic as humanly possible so that more and more people can actually jump into this incredible technology without having to know all of the behind the scenes nitty gritty technical details.
Great. So let me ask you, this past summer, we both noticed this. Everybody noticed this. The centralized exchange implosion, right? Um, what has been your focus, and how have you seen the industry now start to shift toward DeFi? Because DeFi looks like something that can be trusted.
I've been pretty adamantly opposed to the centralization of the industry from the jump. To me, the tenets that crypto is built upon, one of the primary ones is decentralization. And so the idea that we've created these central points of failure, mostly in the on ramps and the trading venues, has always, to me, presented a massive risk. That's come to light recently, with the centralized exchange explosion, implosion, however you want to look at it. Um, and it's an unfortunate lesson that had to be learned. But the proponents of DeFi and the proponents of decentralization this whole time since the inception of crypto have been vindicated by these events. And now you are starting to see more people take self custody seriously. But most importantly, we've seen the DeFi protocols like Aave, Compound, et cetera, DAI especially, which is MakerDAO's stablecoin, actually succeed in their task of whichever task they're presenting, whether it's peer-to-peer lending or stablecoin or whatever, they've succeeded because they cannot be gamed. There's no central party that can misappropriate funds. They only do exactly what they're developed to do. And that's what we mean when we say trustless, right? So many people misinterpret that word, but we're drastically lowering the cost, both from a time perspective and from an actual financial perspective of trust with DeFi, and people are starting to open their eyes to that.
So, what is the misinterpretation of trust, and what is the accurate interpretation of it?
I think people hear trustless and they're like, that means I can't trust it. Which I think crypto and its developers and its proponents have had branding issues throughout the course of time, but the trustless one is probably one of the most misinterpreted. But really, like I said, all it really means is that you're eliminating the need to place your trust in a centralized party or a cult of personality, as we saw with Sam Bankman-Fried at FTX. It eliminates all of that and just functions the way that the code is meant to. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to take for it to get away from the looking at the cult of personalities, but we'll see. So let's. I want to talk about Divi's upcoming launch, of your DeFi platform. What do you have in store for us, and what problems are you looking to solve?
As always, we're trying to solve the usability problems presented by in this case DeFi. But we're also trying to establish a platform that is sustainable. So a lot of the DeFi platforms that have come and gone over the past few years have suffered from the same fate, right? They're essentially very complex Ponzi schemes that don't really have a sustainable business model behind them. So I think that we're in an interesting position because we are a business with revenues. We've been around for 5+ years. We've developed and delivered products that produce revenue on a regular basis outside of the DeFi platform. Perhaps the DeFi platforms themselves are not a sustainable business model, but as a part of a larger infrastructure, perhaps they are. And that's kind of what we're betting on. And then, of course, we're taking some of the pain points away. So you can still sign on, of course, with your MetaMask or Web3 wallet, but you can also just sign up with an email address. We use a technology called Magic Link to essentially establish a wallet for you just using an email and a 2FA code. We're also enabling cross-chain staking. So again, going back to the sustainability aspect, our layer 1 blockchain produces yield automatically. It's what it's been doing for the past 5 years. So we've developed, I think it is the first an industry first cross-chain staking protocol. So you're actually getting liquid rewards in addition to the rewards that you would normally earn, the commissions and fees and staking rewards on the platform to Ethereum, which is really unique. And again, I think it enhances the sustainability and probably the attractiveness of the platform.
Great. So, what is that? What is that usability issue, and how do we overcome it? Like, is it clearly
Yeah,
defined? Like, what?
yeah, no, that's a great question. Like the thing that I think deters most people is the onboarding, and this is true in pretty much all of crypto. We've seen even with our own wallet the number of newcomers to crypto that choose our wallet because it's familiarized, and it allows you to onboard and just pass that initial step, because onboarding is actually, it's an investment of your mental capital, it's an investment of your time. So the less of that you have to invest while still getting the return that you're expecting, that's how you gain and retain users. So that's step one. But then of course the UI as well, and the overall user experience just needs to be straightforward. We launched an education platform as well alongside the DeFi platform for those that want to get deeper and understand more about what they're actually interacting with. So I think those things are probably the primary targets as far as usability is concerned.
So, what's your education entail? What's that? What do we have available?
So we started with a series of blog posts that basically break down every aspect of DeFi, starting from the most basic, like what is a Web3 wallet, um, all the way into like what's liquid staking and how to yield farm and those types of things. So you can start from one and get all the way to I think there's 8 or 10 blogs in that series, and by the end, they're very easily read. You feel like something. You feel comfortable and confident that what you're about to do is well understood by you. And for me, like, you should never invest in something that you don't understand. Um, but moving further beyond that, we have an actual educational portal where we'll have all the basics of crypto that you can sift through and search and dig around. And that's just starting to roll out now as we speak.
So that's you said something interesting that I want to follow up with. You should never invest in something you don't understand. There are so many different ways of areas of crypto, and what's your suggestion to people who, you know, I see a lot of people investing because their friend said a certain crypto was good, or or some basic guidelines people should use? You think?
Yeah, I mean, it's very common that we use word of mouth to make investment decisions in this industry, which is just a sign of like market immaturity. But um, that will change over time. But if you're really taking it seriously and you're not just throwing money at whatever meme coin is popular at the moment, is basically four basic aspects of the market that you can look at. Liquidity, utility, demand, and volume. Those are basically the four starting points. Um, is it something that people actually want to use? Can they use it on multiple things? Is there enough liquidity to buy and sell enough of the currency to interact with the ecosystem? Those types of things are basically like base level. And then you can go into like what problems does it solve? Are they solving it effectively? Are there other competitors doing it better, faster, et cetera, et cetera? But yeah, I think those four basic guidelines are always the starting point for me.
I might have some meme coins. They might be building some things, but people got to do their own research, right? So
There's nothing wrong with meme coins are a great onboarding mechanism actually for the industry. It's just important to know like what you're getting into and the real potential of certain things.
yeah, I agree. So you said industry first solution earlier. You are creating that industry first solution that solves the Ponzi problem, right? Which Ponzi problem? Like, there's a bunch, right? Or which one do you solve and how and why and what are the different types of Ponzi problems?
Yeah, most of the DeFi platforms that have been developed and deployed over the past, especially in the past like year and a half, I would say, um, have crumbled because they essentially rely on just onboarding new users who, supply liquidity and basically buy the bags of the people that came before them. So Ponzi. That's straightforward. Then we got really complex and convoluted with things like time, Wonderland, and things like that. And they call those thermodynamic Ponzinomics, right? Like super complex, deeply ingrained, mathematically driven game theory and things like that. And it's like the more complicated it is, the less you really understand. So you're just like, well, the guy's smarter than me, so I'm just gonna jump into this. And eventually, the carousel stops, and you may or may not be holding the golden ring. um, and again, it just comes back to the same issue of like sustainability and where are those rewards actually being generated from? If it's like a rebase mechanic where you're literally taking funds and just repurposing them through the ecosystem, giving them back to, taking from Peter to pay Paul, et cetera, that's Ponzi. So I think by having a layer one blockchain that has a consensus based mechanism that produces new coins on a regular basis to people that are supporting and validating transactions in the network, that's step one. But then also having more utility around that coin and allowing people to use it in other things. And even if it's just NFTs and simple fun things, games, all these things we already have in our ecosystem. Again, coming back to the fact that we've already built out most of the ecosystem, it's become very robust. So you have a sustainable place to play around in crypto and in DeFi without worrying that, the rug's just going to get pulled one day.
you know, um, so let's talk about some of these DeFi platforms. Is there still and you said rugs, and you named a couple. How are they still fraught with danger, right? DeFi, and when CeFi ended up being the riskiest investment one could have ever made.
Yeah, it's interesting how that turned out, although not very surprising. As we spoke about in the beginning, the centralized points of failure are doomed, regardless of of how great the people behind it are. Um, I think the issues in DeFi are mostly around code standards. So a lot of bridges get hacked. Um, you know, DeFi protocols get hacked, smart contract failure, etc. Those things are the danger. That will change as well, right? The code standards in crypto are still catching up to the traditional tech world because most of the people building crypto projects are just not coming from the traditional tech world. They're kids who just learned how to code or jumped into this new thing without understanding security standards. Like we just need to get to the point where we have well-defined security standards, and that doesn't mean just sending it to Hacken and hoping that they give you a passing rating. It means like test-driven development, having real DevOps workflows and things like that that normal tech companies have. Those things will help increase the standards and eliminate or mitigate some of these dangerous smart contract failures.
You posted an article looking at it as a pin tweet. You made 7 DeFi best practices. What are they, and why should people follow them?
Well, I think first of all, why should you follow them? There's so often in crypto we get FOMO and we jump into things because we don't want to miss the boat, and we forget our basic standards. You see it all the time. I see guys with bored apes getting hacked every day when the simplest thing is just put it on your cold storage. You don't, but you're so excited and you're so enveloped by the euphoria that you forget. So, um, the 7 practices: always have some Ethereum in your wallet. You need it for gas. Never commit 100% of your ETH to an LP. Always send test deposits. Test a smart contract. Like, don't just yeah, it looks good. Like send 100 grand into it. You can test the smart contract, see what it really does. Do it from a separate wallet, whatever makes you feel comfortable. That'll also help you do number 4, which is review each transaction before you sign it. If you're not a smart contract developer, you can usually tell what a transaction is going to do in MetaMask. It'll say, sending, not signing, or whatever it is. It might just be signing. Always double check the web address, bookmark the legit ones that you find. Only click links that you are certain are coming from the verified accounts of the projects you're working on or working with. And check your wallet. I think we like set and forget so many things that sometimes you log in and nothing's there anymore. So it's always good to just double check on all your stuff every so often, periodically.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about 2 of those. I'm gonna challenge you on one, and I'm gonna ask you about the other. I'll ask you about the other first. Um, I got a notice on Discord to join their airdrop, right? And to connect my wallet, and I connected my wallet. And I wasn't thinking, and I'm like, after that, I'm like, there's a good chance maybe the contract might have been bugged a little bit, and maybe they could have pulled my money out. Like, luckily, I only had $4 in Ethereum in it. But what's the risk there of connecting your wallet with maybe uh, not aggressive, or what's the word, a smart contract that wants to steal your money?
Yeah, and there's a lot of these scams, and you see them all over the place, especially on Discord. So like for me on Discord, I have all DMs turned off unless I know you personally and we're friends, which is a great feature on Discord. Telegram, you can't do that on, so it's even more dangerous. Um, but like that just goes back to double checking the web address. If you feel, I actually almost fell for one the other day. This is a tangible example. So Board Ape Yacht Club, they're doing their whole sewer pass thing right now, and they have a game, and somebody created a Board Ape Yacht Club like fake account, and they put an orange emoji because Board Apes have the orange check mark because they're a business brand. they put an orange emoji that looked like an orange check mark. So I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I clicked the link and I realized that it was like Bored Ape LC, not YC or whatever their Twitter account is. I'm like, oh, it almost got me, and it can. So like, always just take a step back. Like, don't do anything with emotion. It's the standard trading advice. Never perform an action with emotion, and excitement is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I forget that excitement is an emotion. I'm so used to like looking at the other way, like negativity being an emotion, right? So,
Yep.
and the first thing you said was don't ever put Ethereum, don't always have Ethereum in a wallet. And one of my hallmarks been don't put Ethereum in any wallet where I'm storing crypto because thieves don't ever make deposits.
That's
So
a great point. I always just keep like for my primary hot wallet, I'll keep just like enough for gas. Um, Sort of like you might in your car's glove box, just like have an extra $20 in there. Of course, it doesn't get you much gas these days, but just enough, not more than you'd be, of course, willing to lose. Never keep anything that you're willing to lose on hot storage. Um, but if you're actively playing with a protocol or something, then you need a little bit of gas, right?
true. That's true. That's true. Um, so cross-border payments, right? Moving money across borders is expensive and time consuming. You tweeted this. Crypto will solve this in jurisdictions that have regulatory clarity first. Who's going to be like with all the regulatory stuff going on, and everybody wants to create a stable coin, and everybody wants to create their like who's going to be the winners in that, and who's going to fall behind, and want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, the Middle East is, I don't know if they're necessarily creating a stable coin, but they are far further ahead probably in bringing additional forms of currency over the border. And I mean, they have a lot more like flexibility because of the way their government is structured. They can make decisions, autocratically. So, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it does allow them to do things quickly, right? The Chinese yuan, the digital yuan, seems to be gaining some traction, even though it's still essentially in beta. Egypt is looking at a bond based on digital yuan. Saudi's looking at accepting um, digital yuan and other currencies for oil. The UAE is in the same boat. So I think the yuan's probably got the best chance at being a widely adopted stablecoin first, where the UAE is probably the place where like a test bed essentially, or I should say the Middle East, North African region, not just the UAE. The US, I want to say, is going to fall behind, but they are, I think, much further ahead than we think. Um, because they already do have USDC, they've kind of hinted at that a little bit. They could use that as either a pilot or as the actual CBDC, or fork it, whatever. I think they're much further ahead than we expect with their CBDC. Will it be the widely accepted one? Will it be the global reserve? That's maybe a conversation for another day. But um, yeah, the yuan is looking like it has a lot of traction and a lot of velocity, which is scary.
It's scary because I was thinking it was going to be Bitcoin. Bitcoin was going to
Yeah, I
be like,
wish. See, here's the thing: CBDCs will always, well, they will come. Like, it's going to exist. Um, but there needs to be an alternative to that, just like there needed to be an alternative to the banking system, right? And that's why Bitcoin was created, to eliminate some of these, central points of failure and such. The CBDCs are a nightmare. The fact that they can edit your money, censor it, change your ability to get credit and things like that, loans based on whatever, those things are extremely scary and will happen. That's where Bitcoin comes in, right? That's where cryptocurrency comes in, because it's unfederated. We still will need, probably more than ever, an unfederated currency. So I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin and on cryptocurrency in general, because finally, as we spoke about with DeFi, and now we're speaking about the CBDCs. Finally, we're seeing, like, in reality, its true use case, and it's only going to become more clear.
so Bitcoin's pretty secure. Stable coins are going to be secure because the government's going to control it. How do you how do you make NFT secure with the Bored Ape thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of that's going to come down, unfortunately, just to education. A lot of people got into NFTs knowing nothing about cryptocurrency, blockchain, wallets, all that stuff. They just kind of figured out how to get some ETH and then mint some NFTs, which is great. It onboarded a ton of people, but a lot of people are learning really difficult lessons as well. Um, more secure wallets will arise. This idea that like I love MetaMask for the fact that it's really flexible and you can just do whatever, but it doesn't protect you at all. Like it doesn't really now, especially with AI and things like that. I envision wallets that read the smart contract quickly for you, tell you if it's malicious or not, what it's really trying to do, what you're about to sign. Like those things can all be done. Um, it's just a matter of time making more and more secure wallets, improving UX, improving security.
I like the security for Divi because I can use in usability because I get it on WhatsApp. All I got to do is open my WhatsApp and I have it. Like, why don't more people do that? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a really unique feature to our ecosystem. The fact that you can literally text money back and forth. You can even mint NFTs on DiviGo now on WhatsApp, which is really cool. Um, but like, yeah, exactly. It's an app that you already have. It's relatively secure, whether you trust Facebook or not, whatever. It's a different thing, Meta, whatever you want to call it. But you know, it's a well tried and true tested app, and it's got your crypto in it. That's those types of things, sort of obfuscating or making more opaque the blockchain aspect, and just giving the user the benefit. That will also push us toward a more secure ecosystem with less mistakes, because MetaMask and Web3 wallets can be quite confusing when you read all the crazy signature things that come up. So um, we got to find a middle ground there, allowing some transparency for the user to know what they're doing, but obfuscating the parts that really just don't matter to them.
I agree. I agree. Awesome. So, I thank you very much for your time today. This has been a great conversation. I have one final question, and that's how can people find out more information about you, about Divi Project? Join the community, get involved, get some Divi in their wallets. How can they do any of that?
Yeah, so it's just at Divi Project across all the social media channels. I'm pretty active on Twitter as well. Just find me at NSAT Productions. You can join our Discord as well. It's discord.gg/Divi Project. You can ask our mods questions, and we're very, very welcoming community. So yeah, come join us and come check out the Divi DeFi platform when it launches next month.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Jamil. As always, pleasure.